Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this important webinar to talk about web development and social media tips to help grow your business in 2023. Lucky to have with us today Ken French, who is the president of his own company, Snoozy Inc. Ken is a web developer and social media expert that exclusively works with independent insurance agents. Ken has been with us for now going on 3 years. We've worked with Ken, and many of our producers use Ken's services that he'll demonstrate for you here today. So before we begin the presentation, I will let you know that if you want to ask any questions, please type those into the questions portion of the GoToWebinar control panel that you see there on your screen. And I will be sure to address the questions at the conclusion of the presentation. So with that, I want to turn it over to Ken. Ken, thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. And again, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to kind of start off and kind of introduce myself, give you a little background on myself so you kind of understand my opinions and where I come from. You know, long story short, I grew up in the insurance business. I got in the business in the late 90s, and we used to have a family-owned business that was just like Arcjetter. We didn't sell insurance, but our clients were independent insurance agents who sold Medicare, life insurance, employee benefits, individual health insurance. And when I joined the company in the late 90s, they kind of made me the IT guy for our agents. And I remember my first few months kind of going to all of our agents' offices. Obviously, back then, everyone had an office. And I used to go in and you know, the first thing I would say is, well, look, you're using your fax machine for everything. That day is going to come and go. You need to probably get a scanner and maybe a thing called email. And, you know, the carriers are going to require this. If you don't do it, it's going to make it hard to do business. And I just remember, you know, some of the agents, obviously they had been in business 50, 60 years, and they would be, get out of here, kid. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to keep faxing my, you know, 100-page employee benefit app to the carrier, and no one's going to stop me. Well, you know, fast forward 4 or 5 years later, most of those producers weren't in business anymore. And, you know, it got me thinking, and my role kind of changed at the company where my job was to kind of get our producers, you know, to become more efficient and to kind of grow their business with technology. And in 2003, 2004, websites started to become a thing that you probably needed or to at least consider. So that was my job. I started to build websites for our agents. I started to teach our agents about having a LinkedIn profile and this new thing called Facebook. And anyway, long story short, my uncle and father decided to sell the company in 2009, right before healthcare reform. And when they sold it, I took my IT guys. We were already working together building websites. We formed a new company called Snoozy, and, you know, we've been doing it ever since. And basically what I do is I work specifically with independent agents who need help building a website, or they might need help with social media. They don't have enough time to post content themselves. And I'll certainly talk about those things in more detail at the end of the presentation. But I just wanted to kind of give you a background that, you know, I've been in the trenches in this industry a long time, and I've seen a lot of shifts and I've seen a lot of fads come and go. You know, and, you know, at the end of the day, my belief is that personal hands-on service is still the key to success. Make no mistake. I am not telling you that you need to become an e-commerce center. But what I am here today to do is to try to kind of give you some tips on how to improve your website and how to have a game plan to get some results from it. And I think that that's where a lot of producers have struggled the last 4 or 5 years. You probably have gotten a website and you just never knew what to do with it. So I'm here to give you some ideas on what to do. And I think my overall theme is that if you're hoping people are going to find your website, that probably equals failure. You do need a website in 2023. There's no escape from that because everybody has a smartphone now, and everybody is going to probably background check you on their smartphone by Googling you. You just need to have a plan on how to make that website usable. So like I said, I believe in personal service. I believe in retention and referrals are the key to any successful independent agent. But I also believe that your clients, the consumer, they now kind of demand 24/7 service. That being said, I don't expect you to work 24/7. And that's where your web presence comes in, because your web presence can allow you to work 24/7. And I think what we're going to talk about today is things that you can put on your site to allow you to help the client when you might be sleeping or you might be sitting on the beach after AEP because you're tired. So we're going to talk about three key things. We're going to talk about branding. We're going to talk about functionality and tools you can put on your website before the sale, before you've made a sale with somebody. And we're going to talk about customer service tools you can put on your website for after you've made the sale and they become your client. For those of you that kind of get bored with slides, feel free to go to jetter.snoozy.net. That's my main website with, the guys at Art Jetter. Certainly I offer kind of a special promotion to those agents, special pricing. You can kind of look around there if you're bored. But let's go back to branding. And, like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of a realist. What is really happening with the consumer? And I think what's really happening with the consumer right now is, they're doing a little bit of diligence. Maybe they've been referred to you. Maybe they met you at Walmart. You were just sitting there. You gave them a business card. And now a few weeks later, they're kind of, let me go back and maybe contact this person. Whatever it might be, they're likely to go to their smartphone, because now 92% of everyone has a smartphone, and they might be Googling you, right? So they're putting your name into Google and kind of what is coming up. So I'm a big believer that we want to control that flow, and we want them to find your website, and we want them, once they find your website, to obviously learn more about you, and we need to tell them why they should work with you, and obviously what products you offer, and certainly maybe a few testimonials from people that you've helped. So let me kind of show you an example here of a client I've worked with. And, if I go into Google here real quick, I always have people who go, yeah, no one does that. Well, look, we're just going to go in and we're going to type in this gentleman's name and, kind of see how it works for the consumer. So you type in his name and boom, first thing that comes up for old Harry is his website. So we want that to happen, right? Because now someone's like, all right, this guy became highly recommended. Let me go to his website and check him out. On his website, he's got a button that says, why choose Harry? And he's got a page that reviews exactly why you should work with him and what his process is. And he's got, obviously some testimonials from people that he's helped that are, some pretty good stories about their situation and what they were going through and how he helped them. So again, I'm trying not to ramble on too much here, but I think, again, I'm a strategist. And I think that that's kind of the first thing that we want to, work on when we're building our site, is to make sure that when people are Googling us, we do a good job at coming across as someone who can help them. Again, not to get off topic, but I had a gentleman the other day, and I was looking at his website, and he says, well, I sent 500 people to the site. I haven't really gotten any results. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about your business. And he said, well, I have a really great business. He goes, I'm very flexible. I will go to their house. Again, he specializes in Medicare, final expense, life insurance. He says, I will do anything for my client. I will drive to their house. I will sit with them for hours. He goes, I will meet them at a neutral location. I will go do it over the phone. I can do a Zoom call. He goes, I'm tech savvy. And he goes, that's what kind of separates me, because I can do it all. And I said, well, look, when I go on your website, you don't mention any of this, nothing. All you're saying is you sell Medicare and you got all the carriers. That's all you're saying. And I said, remember, put yourself in the shoes of a consumer. A lot of these consumers are talking to 3, 4, 5 agents before they kind of finally settle on someone they feel comfortable with. So I said, a big part of building your website is to explain to the consumer, this is how the process is going to go. I can come to your house. We don't have to go to your house. We can go to a third-party location. We can do it on the phone. We can do it over Zoom. Explain to them how it's going to work. Then tell them why you should work with you. Okay, you've been doing this 25 years. You're licensed in these states. And then here are some testimonials from people that I've helped that explain how the process worked and what the outcome was. So I think that's a big part of getting results from the site. And I guess what I'm trying to say, guys, is I look at websites all day long, and you would be surprised how many insurance websites, all that's on there is just a tremendous amount of information about the products. Here's 27 pages about Medicare Advantage plans. Here's 39 pages on Medicare Part D. I'm not saying having information like that is a bad idea, but the consumer is looking for help because they don't understand this information. Putting all that information on there isn't going to make them understand it. Really, the point of the website is to sell you and why they should choose you. Everybody's got the same products. So I think that that's always a good starting point. And then to get to even the next level, you really should have a social media presence for your insurance operation. If your company is Bob Smith Insurance, you should have a Bob Smith Insurance Facebook page, and you should be on LinkedIn, because these consumers, they're going to probably go click on your social media pages and look around. And you want to make sure that, again, example of this gentleman, Harrison, he's got his social media pages. If you go to his Facebook page, you can certainly go in there and, see that he's been posting every day, and obviously posting a lot of, educational Medicare content and stuff like that. It creates basis. It shows that, that agent is invested in what they're doing and certainly knows what they're talking about. So again, not trying to ramble on, but I think what we're trying to do here is prove to the consumer that everything we say is true. And having the website, having the social media presence, it becomes a little bit, it's validity. So that's the foundation. But to really get to the next level, you need to use your website. And, in this day and age, you need to have reasons to send people to the site. So, that's usually one of the first questions I have when I work with a new client. Someone comes to me and they say, look, I've had a website, I've never gotten any results. I'm frustrated. I know I need this website, but I don't know what to do to get to the next level. And I ask them, I say, well, how many people this month did you send to your website? Gosh, in the last month, we were in the middle of AEP. How many people did you send there? No one. I never sent anyone to my website. Well, why not? Well, there's nothing to do on my website. Okay, well, that's the foundation of the problem. So, I think strategy number 2 is to figure out, how do we put a few things on the site so that we have reasons to send people to the site? Because if you send people to the site, it's likely they're going to tell other people about your site. Just to tell you another story, I had another gentleman. He did not have a very good AEP this year. His goal was to do 100 apps. He did 25. And he was kind of giving me this song and dance that, well, I don't think a lot of people changed plans this year, and that's probably why it was down. And so I said, well, what was your strategy? And he said, well, I had about 25, maybe not 25, 20 events that I did. And I sat at Walmart and I handed out my cards and I handed out flyers. And I said, well, on those cards, on those flyers, what was on there? Well, my picture and my phone number. And I said, well, that's part of the problem, my friend. You're not, you're giving them a picture and a phone number to the consumer. They've already forgotten you a week later. They're probably nervous to call you. You need to have a website on that card so they can go look through the branding and then 2, be able to do things. So what I'm suggesting in this day and age is that on your website, you kind of have a few things that make sense. Number 1, you really should have a calendar where somebody can see your schedule and book a meeting with you. There are apps out there. One of them is called Calendly. They have a free version. It doesn't cost anything. You could go to Calendly right now, create a free account, sync it to your calendar, and have it on your website before the end of this webinar. That's how easy it is. In my opinion, everywhere we go, if you go to get your hair cut, you go to the dentist, you go to the dermatologist, at the end of those things, they always say, hey, do you want to book the next meeting with us or the next, appointment? And, for me, I can just go on my phone and do that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is it's becoming more normal for the consumer when they're going to set up appointments to do it online. So why don't you have that on your site? Two, you really should have some basic FAQs about the different products you sell. Three, you should probably have a few, at the minimum, generic videos about the products you sell. There are a lot of free CMS videos out there on Medicare. Certainly, the best case scenario is you create your own videos. But my point is there are things out there that you can get. And then finally, you really should consider potentially putting some of your online shopping links on the site. Again, I believe in personal hands-on service. I don't expect people to go on there and enroll online, but I do think having these portals on there allows them to potentially look at some of the products before they chat with you. And it allows them to feel a little bit more comfortable about what you're doing. So again, if we go back to this one example, the main focal point of this gentleman's site is he does have a button here that says, click here to schedule a meeting. If you click on that, you go into his Calendly account and, you can set up a 10-minute call, obviously see his availability. Let's see, today he's available at 1:15, 1:30. You click on it, you set up the meeting, and it just makes life easier for him, makes life easier for you. Again, this is something that's free that you could easily add to your site. If you look under resources, he's got a few educational free Medicare videos that talk about the differences between Advantage plans, supplement plans, talks about the enrollment periods. These are things that the consumer could look at before they chat with you or even after they chat with you. Obviously, he's got a few FAQs on Medicare talking about the differences in Part A and Part B and can I keep my same doctors? All these kind of things that the consumer's thinking about before they chat with you. Again, this does not replace you talking with them, but it creates a little bit of basis before they chat with you that shows that you're very organized. You're very focused. You're going to have all the answers. And this is something they can look at before to kind of prepare. And as I mentioned, he even has some of his own online shopping portals in here where whether it's Medicare, whether it's dental insurance, somebody can go into Delta Dental, put their zip code and birthday in, and obviously see some pricing on some standalone plans. All this stuff is available to you. It's available to your competition. There's no cost to have these things. I'm just a big believer that it's about having a game plan on how to incorporate it all so it works for you. And I think that becomes the key to the next level is being able to have your operation kind of open 24/7. If somebody wants to check this stuff out at 11 o'clock at night and you're sleeping, your website is always available to them and it has these tools. If they want to schedule a meeting with you tomorrow morning, they can go on there at 2 a.m., see your schedule and schedule it. I was at one of the NAHU conventions earlier this year, and a very good speaker was there. And basically what the speaker was talking about is he said, do you know what the number one reason an agent loses the client is? And, everyone raised their hand and tried to guess. And basically what the answer was is the number one reason you lose a client is because that client said they could not get in touch with you. And look, I know everyone on today's call works their butt off. You're all probably really tired from AEP. Obviously, the holidays are coming. Having a little bit of a support system behind you, where if somebody, again, is just kind of whipping out their smartphone and going, hey, who's this guy I talked to 10 months ago? Let me try to find him. I need to talk to them. At the bare minimum, if they call you and don't get you, your website is there to help them. Your website is there to let them schedule a meeting with you. It's there to offer them more information. And again, it makes them feel like, okay, I didn't talk to him today, but he's in business still. He still has these tools that are making me feel comfortable. And, that kind of leads us to step 3, which is, customer service. You have to be able to offer you have to be able to service your clients. Retention is the key to success in this industry. Anyone who's ever made it, who's gotten to 200, 400, 1,000 clients, they know it was about keeping my book happy, obviously getting referrals from that book, and then cross-selling the book. And, your website can be a huge part of that process. One of my clients called me up back in September. Very nice lady, but to be honest, a little older. Been in the business about 50 years. And she said, Ken, I'm exhausted. I don't know if I can do another AEP. It's just so much work. She said, I need some ideas. She said, look, one of the things I've done for like the last 30 years is in September, I send out letters to every one of my clients. And the goal with the letter is I want them to send me if they have any updated information. New phone number, new address, new drugs they're on, new doctors they're seeing. The problem is over the last 5 years, I've gone from getting about 70% back to getting about 20% back. And it's killing me. Now I got to call the people and it takes so much time. So I said, well, how's the process work? And she said, well, the process is I have a letter, and then in the letter is a form that I make them fill out. And I even put another envelope with a stamp there, and I want them to fill it out and mail it back to me. And her name's Linda. And I said, Linda, I go, to be honest, that's crazy stuff. That's crazy. That's something that you would do in like 1998. I go, it's 2022 at this point. I go, the reason you're only getting 20% return is a lot of people are just like, they're lazy and they probably open it up, they put it aside, and it just gets thrown out, right? Or something to that extent. I said, so what we need to do is we need to build a page on your website that people can go into and they can fill this information out on the site and it'll just email back to you. It'll be encrypted, it'll be secure, and it'll just be easier for them. So that's what we did. We created a page on the site. She still sent her letters out because she felt like that was very important, that the people want to get stuff in the mail. Fine. But in the letter, it said, next step is to go to this page on my website and fill out the form. She was back up to 80%, as of I know, in about 2 weeks ago. So, that's one of the things, obviously, I try to help my clients with is, hey, you do things your own way. That's great. I'm here to understand how you're doing things and to come up with ideas that we can build into the site to try to get you back to 2022. And I guess my point is that, your website can easily do these things. There's no point in having people mail you stuff back and then you're trying to type it into your agency management system. We can cut through all that and simplify it. So again, your website should let people schedule customer service calls with you. They should be able to update their information, their drugs, their providers. If you sell P&C, they should be able to file a claim or make a payment. And then, of course, most importantly, if you sell other products, maybe you sell life insurance, maybe you do annuities, maybe you do P&C insurance. Obviously, you want to let people know what your portfolio includes, because cross-selling is certainly the real key to the next level. And you would be surprised how many people I see their websites and it'll say, okay, all we do is Medicare and final expense. And then I'll ask them, well, what do you do? Oh, well, we do auto and home, and we do annuities. And I'm like, well, why isn't this on the website? Oh, well, the company we work with, they only have a template and they couldn't put that on there. And I go, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. I mean, this website is supposed to represent your entire, brand, who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And I think if you can get to that point, obviously it makes things, work a lot better. So just to kind of round up my conversation, we're at the point now as we push into 2023, you still need to offer personal hands-on service. I meet very few people who say, hey, I hide in my basement all day and just get electronic enrollments and sales. There's very few of those people out there. They're probably a lot smarter than all of us if they truly are able to do it. So I'm still a big believer in personal service, meeting people if possible, obviously proving to them that you're the expert and providing really good hands-on service. The thing is that you just need to offer that next level of customer service to them. And basically having a website where they can do really easy things like schedule a meeting, maybe answer a little question that's simple, maybe just check out a plan or pricing for a secondary product. To me, that just seems like, a very good service that you can provide. And basically just having a business card that might bullet that and say, hey, if you ever need anything and you can't get a hold of me, make sure you go to my website. You can do all that stuff right from your smartphone. To me, that just seems like a smart idea, especially if you're going to keep doing this for the next 3 to 5 years. So again, for those of you that came on late, basically what I do is I work specifically with independent agents, trying to help them do everything I just talked about. We offer website design services. We offer social media posting services. And really what my process is I like to have about a 30-minute call with somebody and interview them, go through their style of selling, go through their product focus, go through their comfort level with technology. And then, I'm very good at kind of saying, okay, well, these are the things I need you to email me. I'll build you a website that does all that, or I'll help you set up your social media presence and get the content flowing. So basically we have two services, and if you're an ArtJetter producer, you can get some special discount pricing on what we do. Obviously, we have a website design service. Takes about 1 week from start to finish to get it set up. Like I said, we would interview you. I'll make sure we design branding. I'll make sure we have some sales technology. We'll be your back office for customer service, just like my one client who called me about, hey, I'm doing a mailer. How do I make this better? That's what we're here to help our clients do. We also kind of offer a social media service that includes Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. This is really for agents who say, hey, I get it. I need to be on social media every day. I don't have time to do it myself. I need to outsource this to somebody who understands CMS compliance, who can post really good educational content about the products I offer. That's what our social media services are. So what I suggest is, if you get a chance, go to jetter.snoozy.net. Look around. I'll pull up that site right now. I have some pretty good samples on here of websites we've designed. Obviously, we don't just do Medicare. We can do anything, or we can do a combination of everything. I have some pretty good samples about the social media content we can post. And I have some very simple, quick videos that review how we do things. My suggestion is if any of this sounded interesting and you're really trying to get this stuff to the next level next year, check this website out. And, if you like what you see, click on the I'm interested next step button and just fill in your name and email. And you and I will set up like a little 15-minute call, and we'll figure out if I can help you. I try to be very blunt. I don't charge anything up front to design these things. The way I make money is I work with people for a few years, and, retention for me, and obviously a relationship. So I try to be upfront. If I can help you, I'll give you all the ideas I have. If I don't think I can help you, I'll try to point you in the right direction. But talking, I think, is always a good way to see if there's any synergy and if what we do can help. So with that being said, I'll bring kind of Rob back in. And I don't know if any questions have popped in, but I'd be happy to address them, and we'll go from there.
Ken, thank you very much. I really appreciate all the information you shared. Some excellent ideas. I'm going to be checking for questions here. If anybody does have any questions, please type them into the questions portion of GoToWebinar there. I don't see any questions currently, but I have a couple of things I want to point out too, is that we have a lot of producers right now who are working with Ken, and it's really been beneficial. I hear great feedback as regards to the importance of incorporating their message on their website and branding. A lot of producers will say, well, will ask me before they contact Ken, well, what kind of leads am I going to get? What kind of business will I generate from it? And it's definitely an important question, but I always want to caution the fact that Ken does an excellent job with creating these websites, and but these websites are help, focus your message, give you a brand so that your clients can become familiar and then comfortable with referring you to others. One of the, I work with a lot of producers, and when it comes to referring others, producers, if I have a choice between referring somebody that does some great business with us, and someone who does business but also has an excellent website and an excellent social media presence and a brand associated with them, I'm going to choose the person with with that content online for them to be able to, so the person that I'm referring to can do a little bit of background information before they contact that person that I recommended. So it's really important today in this day and age to be sure that you're clicking on all cylinders. Whether you have just a referral business, that's excellent, but making sure that your content online can back up the referrals that you get from other clients.
Yeah, and I think just to add to that, Rob, I think one of the things I've seen over the last 20 years is, every year that goes by, there's just more and more tools out there, right? Like, so, the carriers are giving you things. They're giving you information. They're giving you videos. They're giving you online shopping links. Our jetters giving you tools. They're giving you all this stuff. And I think a lot of my point with this webinar is, what we do can help you kind of put all those puzzle pieces into one puzzle, and it's a better presentation. And I think the top agents, they have that, and it makes it easier for the consumer very quickly to identify this is what they do, this is what they're about. Whereas the other more unorganized producer, they're just like, well, I can email you that, but I got to email you that, and then I'll email you this other thing, and it's all, not put together. And I think that we've just gotten to the point where the website, yes, gosh, I hope it generates you leads. I hope it gets you referrals, but it's a much bigger picture thing as well on how you're presenting yourself out there. And I think that becomes the starting point. Anyway.
Some excellent questions coming in now. One person's asking, what kind of services do you have that may allow for video conferencing apps to be placed on someone's website?
So we can certainly do that. I mean, I think that's a good example of what I was just talking about. To me, that's another puzzle piece. There's things out there like Zoom or Join Me that you might be incorporating where you're doing online meetings and stuff. These are things that should be put onto your website. That way you're not emailing the client. You're just telling the client, hey, just go to bobsinsurance.com and click join meeting, and now we'll meet. It's making your day-to-day process easier. So we can certainly build those things into your site, of course.
Excellent. Another question. Someone is asking, with regards to posting for LinkedIn and other, one person is saying that they have the content already, they know they want to post, but don't always have time to post it. What kind of services do you have regarding that? Can you speak more in depth about the social media aspect of what you do for the social media aspect of it?
So the social media services, again, are kind of for maybe someone like yourself who you need to be more active, and maybe you're even able to post once every 2 weeks, once a month, but you're realizing that you're falling short. And really what our services are is we'll kind of interview you and figure out what your product focus is first. So maybe you'll say, hey, I focus on Medicare, final expense, and annuities. Then I'll say, okay, well, when we post, let's come up with a formula. So 50% of the time will be Medicare, 30% of the time will be final expense, and 20% of the time will be whatever, annuities. So then basically what you're going to say is, okay, I'm expecting you now, Ken, to go in Monday through Friday, find content that's relevant to those, and post it for me. And that's what we do. We find the content, we create graphics, and we'll post it based on that formula we came up with. If you want to go post yourself because you have time, absolutely, you go post yourself. If every once in a while you have a really good post that you want to just email us and say, Ken, can you get this out for us? Sure, you can do that. But I think the main point of the service is for someone who doesn't even have time for that. They're just kind of saying, I need someone who understands me, understands my products, and can kind of take hold of this and get it done for me every day. So I constantly look active and I'm dripping on people. That's really the point of our services on the social media. We offer it at a month-by-month contract level. It includes Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you don't have those pages, I mean, I'll help you get them set up. That's included. If you do have them, we'll use what you have. I'll tune them up and, give it a shot.
Ken, do you provide your clients with like monthly reports about web traffic as to how many visitors they've had, like unique users or new users to their site, and as to
yes. So absolutely, what we would do, it's nothing fancy. We would just get you set up with what's called a Google Analytics account, and that means you can just log into Google Analytics at any time. It's free, and you'll be able to see more analytics than you could ever imagine. So yes, we absolutely provide that.
And that will include information as to what links the user may have clicked on a particular website?
Yes, absolutely. You'll be able to see kind of where they came into the site. So maybe they clicked on your website on Facebook, or maybe they saw it on an email, or maybe they just Googled you. They typed in Lincoln, Nebraska Medicare, found you, went on the site, and then you'll be able to see their click flow, that they clicked on the about page, the testimonial page. Sure, I mean, you have to run a few reports to get to that point, but it's all available and it's all free. There's no extra cost for that.
Excellent. And then I want to also stress the point that is I find it to be one of the most valuable parts of Ken's services is the compliance aspect. I'm in the senior health department here, the senior health specialist, so very familiar with all of the Medicare compliance rules, as many of you are as well. But a lot of hesitation out there. Why do I post online? What's compliant? Am I going to get in trouble from CMS if this link is outdated, or is this logo correct from the carrier? Well, with Ken's experience, right. Ken has specialized experience, particularly in the senior health market, is familiar with all of the compliance rules, and you can be assured that Ken doesn't want to get in trouble, and he doesn't want to get his clients in trouble. So you can be assured that everything that is done on your web pages and social media sites is done compliant.
Yeah, I mean, basically what I tell people, Rob, is I go, if you get fined, I get fined, and you don't pay me enough to get fined. So yes, I mean, obviously handling the social media part, the CMS compliance part's important, but I think what's more likely is I usually have people who come to me with ideas and they say, look, I'd like to do this. If I think that it's not compliant, I'm not a yes man. I'm going to say, look, you can't do that. No big deal. Here's how you can do it. Tell me how you want to do it, and I think that's what I see a lot more from clients is they're not intentionally trying to break the rules, but they're just not aware of them. And, I try to be very proactive and say, look, you can't do that. It's on United Healthcare's website design guidelines. But no, this is what our options are. And, let's figure it out. And, also, obviously, this year in 2022, there was some big changes back at the end of May. Obviously, there was new disclaimers that had to be on the site. I just went in proactively for all my clients and made those changes. I'm not expecting anyone to tell me how to do it. My fingers are on the pulse of what's going on, and we try to be very proactive here. I'm still a young guy. I want to do this another 20 years. Take all this stuff very seriously.
And just hearing that one example to me, being in the senior health market is an invaluable resource. To hear that, Ken, that you went out and proactively did that for your clients' websites without being told. I mean, that is critical critical importance and worth every bit of money doing back, for Ken Services in that regard, because I've had many producers contacting us, in October, right before AEP started, saying, "Oh my gosh, like, what's that disclaimer I have to put on my website? What's my disclaimer I have to put in my emails? What do I have to, and to know that Ken does that proactively for his clients that he was working with is just tremendous. One thing I'd like to add too is that we at Art Jetter and Company have a tremendous, very valuable tool that is really helping our producers have great success, and that is our Trustees Select Pro Essential Medicare tool that does instant plan recommendations, and you can do direct enrollments with many of the top carriers. We provide that to our producers who are appointed and certified with Medicare at no charge, and no charge to our producers to use that. And for those that do have it, Ken can put a link on there. They do have a lead generating aspect to their tool, and that's another link that can go on your website to show your clientele that it adds more credibility to your business. So I'm glad to speak to you, anybody about that. If they have further questions on that. If you could just advance to the last slide, that'd be great.
I'm sorry?
If you could just advance to that last slide. So
sorry.
And then again, just to reiterate, for anybody that has questions regarding like costs or services, again, that is available on that microsite jetter.snoozey.net. It's jetter.snoozey, SNOOZZY.net, and that will have a synopsis of Ken's services and costs for Art Jetter and Company producers. And this is being recorded, and glad to provide the recording to those who attended today. So with that, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody, and appreciate everybody's business and look forward to being of assistance to you and helping grow your business in 2023. So thank you all very much. Ken, thank you very much again for all of your services. Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm.